there's a concept, it's called the ecological footprint. Okay, so what is the footprint of a Spanish person on the world today? Each one of you sitting in this room needs roughly 5 hectares of land to provide you with the resources that you need to eat, to sleep, for energy and various other things. Okay, 5 hectares. In Britain we're slightly higher, in fact. But to put it into context, if you were to go to Latin America, to Colombia, which is a country that has a similar population to you, their footprint is only 1.3 hectares. If we went to Africa, we went to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which again has a population, well, it's actually a little bit more, it's 50 million people. They have a footprint of 0.7 hectares. Okay? And nature has taken 1 million years to store the amount of fossil fuels used by humanity in 1 year.
This idea of a predictable climate shift, which will make some regions of the world very well off and other regions of the world a bit in turmoil, is a very false image. Climate chaos reflects the changes much better. Climate chaos tells us that the changes are unpredictable. When an extreme weather event will happen will not be known. That in May in Delhi we will get hailstorms. That is climate chaos. That the desert of Rajasthan will have rainfall so high that 15 feet of water will accumulate on the sands. That is climate chaos. Climate chaos reflects the unpredictability of the change, whereas climate change by itself makes us imagine that we could manage it. Climate chaos forces us to develop ways of dealing with uncertainty and unpredictability.
Aquí tenemos una estadística que nos muestra cuántos planetas vamos a necesitar para proveer los recursos naturales que necesitamos si cada persona en el mundo vive como un americano promedio. 5 planetas extras necesitamos. Creo que no hay duda que hemos sobrepasado la capacidad de la Tierra de sostener nuestras poblaciones.
Well, at the top of any agenda must be climate change. It's a much larger issue for all human communities, larger than terrorism, larger than any of the existing national or religious conflicts. So, forging some sort of intelligent response to what is now irreversible climate change seems to me at the top of the agenda. But there are other problems, and they all really focus around dealing with the consequences of the growth of human knowledge. And so I think what we're confronted with is this deep paradox, which is that the growth of knowledge increases human power, or seems to increase human power. But that power is, in a sense, it's not control. Humans can't control other humans terribly well for terribly long, and they can't really control the Earth or the biosphere. They're limited by it, however powerful they seem to be. So human knowledge is creating new dilemmas and new dangers, and without really creating new wisdom or new intelligence. So somehow in that kind of dialectical relationship, we have to find a point of precarious balance. That's the best we can hope for.
for the corporations is to maximize profit and market share, and they also have a goal for their target, namely the population. They have to be turned into completely mindless consumers of goods that they do not want. You have to develop what are called created wants. So you have to create wants. You have to impose on people what's called a philosophy of futility. You have to focus them on the insignificant things of life, like fashionable consumption. I'm just basically quoting business literature, and it makes perfect sense. The ideal is to have individuals who are totally dissociated from one another, whose conception of themselves, the sense of value, is just how many created wants can I satisfy.
These people are customers because they are willing to trade money for widgets. And all the customers take their widgets home to all parts of the country. Look at all that money the widget builder has taken in from the sale of his widgets.
It's the money.
Regardez, les gens continuent à vouloir être utiles, ils militent dans des associations, ils sont bénévoles. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que la consommation ne suffit pas, que les gens continuent à chercher autre chose. Je crois aussi que l'Europe et la mondialisation vont pousser les gens à avoir davantage l'esprit d'innovation. Alors, je ne crois pas à cette idée que la consommation, elle aurait réussi à étouffer tous les potentiels de l'être humain pour devenir un pur spectateur complètement abruti qui ne pense qu'à acheter des marques et à regarder la télévision. C'est une tendance, mais il y en a d'autres. Donc, je crois que si la consommation n'y arrive pas, qu'elle nous laisse un peu insatisfaits, eh bien, c'est un motif d'espérance, c'est un motif d'espoir.
La cultura antropocéntrica es la cultura supersticiosa y la cultura, digamos, anticientífica. O sea, creer que el hombre es el centro de todas las cosas, pues es como creer que el número 13 trae mala suerte. Eso no tiene nada que ver con las matemáticas, eso es pura superstición. Entonces, claro, no había hasta el siglo XVI o XVII, no había ciencia en realidad en el mundo, pero desde el momento que la ciencia se pone en marcha, pues todo han sido golpes al antropocentrismo. Lo que pasa es que siempre lo que podríamos llamar, no sé cómo llamarlo, la cultura folclórico-popular, pues pervive siempre a los descubrimientos científicos. Por lo tanto, yo creo que desde un punto de vista intelectual, no hay duda de que el antropocentrismo pues ha sido completamente derrotado.
I realize deeply that we are in the midst of crisis humanity has never faced. Climate change, unemployment and disposability of people that on the one hand is leading to massive migration and on the other hand creating extremists and terrorists. All of these crises are a result of a particular way of organizing the economy, organizing politics. If one is locked into that way, you could be a pessimist. But I am a persistent optimist because I put my trust and my inspiration in nature's perennial renewal. I put my energies in the capacity of ordinary people to act and bring dramatic change by small, everyday actions like saving seeds.
Well, I think that, one of the key properties is local autonomy, right? You need to have a certain critical mass of individuals that are able to act independently. So when you have a top-down media system, when you have a broadcast media system, it can't by definition be an emergent system because it's controlled in a kind of hierarchical way at the top. And if you have, once you kind of introduce, say, the blogosphere or something like that, then you have lots of individual people who are out there kind of doing their thing. Now, you also need some ability to detect patterns in all that activity and make those patterns kind of visible in some ways. So in the book Emergence, I talk about ant colonies, right? And it's not just that all the individual ants are running around kind of independently. The fact is that they do solve problems collectively, and that collective problem solving is what makes an ant colony an emergent system, right? But that only works because they have these basic kind of communication skills, and they can recognize patterns in the pheromone trails that the ants leave behind and stuff like that. And so some pattern recognition system has to be built into that kind of distributed system as well. And that's what we're seeing more and more on the web. You see all these kind of services that are basically aggregators that are looking for kind of patterns in all this kind of local activity. And in fact, that's what we're doing at Outside In, is observing all the things that local bloggers are saying, tracking all that information, geocoding all that information, and then looking for interesting patterns that we can represent in all that data. So we're trying to make it an emergent system.
Kimura.
El sistema por el cual la ciencia se produce y se almacena es un sistema bastante demencial y de hecho bastante arcaico. En el área de biomedicina se han publicado 14 millones de trabajos científicos. Obviamente no hay nadie que pueda saber qué ha pasado y hay áreas enteras que se olvidan cuando las personas que trabajaban en un tema dejan de hacerlo. Creo que es evidente que la velocidad a la que están pasando todas las cosas, a los cambios continuos en las tecnologías que nos hacen adquirir nuevos conocimientos, son una situación muy real, pero que a su vez es muy difícil de transmitir. Se pierde la sucesión de conocimiento. Es tan difícil transmitir lo que está pasando y para los científicos es difícil y muy frustrante no ser capaces de transmitir el entusiasmo que sentimos ante este precipicio del nuevo conocimiento, de las posibilidades reales de entender problemas fundamentales acerca del origen, organización de la vida.
If you go right back hundreds of years to Piero della Francesca, the painter, he was both a painter and a mathematician. He wrote textbooks on mathematics. So there's always been a relationship between art and science, or art and mathematics, and also art and technology. And the scientists can produce new technology, and the artists can look at that technology in a very different way and see where can we push that. So I think it's a very exciting collaboration. I don't know if it's a third culture or more of an interaction between the two.
Science, which I was taught in grade 3 is the search for truth, has increasingly been linked to the search for profits. It has lost its independence. More scientists work for corporations, military, than work for nature, ecology, and people's needs. We cannot afford science itself to be in the service of Wall Street and corporations. we need to have a science that is independent, that is in the service of nature and is in the service of people and society. Society will have to create this science. Society will have to support an independent science, because an independent science cannot exist in and of itself, just like a plant cannot grow without soil and without water. That soil and water will come from the dedication of society, putting pressure on its institutions and governments to say, finance public science, finance independent science, because we cannot have all science reduced to a pseudoscience parading as science in the control of corporations.
When I met David Pete, he was asking me, well, what is it about nano that interests you? And I had to summarize it in three things. One is that you move from seeing is believing to feeling is believing. The second is we're used to technologies going from huge computers, smaller, 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 smaller. We're used to social systems from top down. We're used to all kinds of hierarchies top down. Nanotech turns this upside down and it's bottom up. And it also is at a place where science has kind of reached an edge of what the rational mind as we know it can absorb. And so it actually needs art, which is a very new paradigm.
Il faut savoir qu'en Orient, il n'existe pas. C'est-à-dire qu'on a la conception qu'il existe un monde invisible, il peut y avoir des choses qui nous échappent, il peut y avoir un principe organisateur du monde, du cosmos, mais l'idée que ce principe soit une personne à qui on peut parler, se confier, etc., c'est quelque chose de très occidental, qui est né vraiment avec les monothéismes juifs, chrétiens, puis musulmans. Et cette notion-là, elle est en train de se transformer très profondément. Et aujourd'hui, on assiste à une métamorphose de Dieu, du concept de Dieu, qui passe de l'idée d'un Dieu personnel à l'idée d'un Dieu impersonnel. Et au fond, ce qui était considéré comme une personne à qui on peut parler, échanger, prier depuis des millénaires et qui est enraciné dans notre psyché, est en train de se transformer plutôt dans quelque chose de plus abstrait qui serait une énergie, une force. Donc on assiste à une transformation du concept de Dieu plutôt qu'à une disparition du concept de Dieu.
Yeah, that's a really difficult question. It's a really difficult question because, you know, I spent a lot of my time in North America, and there's a sort of giant supermarket there, you know, of religions, and you can go in and you say, oh, you know, I want to be a Buddhist today. And, oh, wow, these Sufis look neat, you know, maybe I'll do a bit of dancing. And so that, I think, gets the worst of everything. I think there's something quite interesting happened. In Oxford a few years ago, there was a conference of atheists and agnostics, and they asked the question, is anything sacred? And several of them were forced to say yes. this is sacred to me, this is inviolate, this should be there. But how can I say that when I don't believe in any God? So I think that's interesting to push people who say, I have no God or I have no religion, but for them there's something really sacred in the world. And I think if you could begin with that, what are the sacred things? And then maybe build from that. I mean, I think of a wonderful example of Cordoba, when the Arabs, the Jews and the Christians all sat down together, ate at the same table and translated their books and had a genuine dialogue. Because I think, and that was not because they said, oh, we all want to be, get together and be friendly, but because, well, we're interested in botany, and we're interested in astronomy, we're interested in discoveries of mathematics, we're interested in what the Greeks philosophers did, and you can help us learn that. So I think when people come together for genuine reasons, because they generally want to investigate something, and they're coming from different religious traditions, then maybe it can work. But I don't think it can work just because if we say it would be nice if we all got together and created a new spirituality. I think it has to come out of a real desire to collaborate, to work together.
Non saprei tanto más allá. Non direi oltre le sette, tutti questi fenomeni New Age. Tutto questo sono modi interessanti per la gente di ricostituire una forma, per esempio, di spiritualità o persino di religiosità, che non necessariamente deve essere unitaria. Cioè, nel mondo postmoderno, dove tutto si incrocia, dove c'è il presente continuo, eccetera, la molteplicità di comunità religiose o di comunità estetiche, modelli di vita differenti, che convivono, mi sembra una cosa possibile. Credo che questa sia la nuova spiritualità, l'idea non di conformarsi a un modello umano definito una volta per tutte, ma inventare modelli ovviamente convivibili, cioè se uno inventa il modello dello sterminio di tutti gli altri non è un modello, ma stili di vita diversi che convivono nella stessa società e verso cui la gente si impegna, mi sembra una nuova forma di spiritualità.
Most people think that simplicity means like the iPod, like a beautiful white box with a shiny silver thing, and oh, this is simplicity, so they make the same thing out of any kind of other object, like a cell phone looks like that, or a VCR looks like that, white, simple looking. In reality, the average person doesn't really want things to be so plain and simplistic, really. Most people want something exciting and fun and crazy, and so in that sense, more is often important. Now, spirituality can go different ways. I think that I know a friend who had a very complex life and then made herself into a very Zen life. So her apartment was blank and with a white couch and a white everything, and she had her friends stay there, and her friend stayed and said she couldn't stay there because it was so sterile. It was very spiritual, but sterile. So you have to figure that out.
Oui, je crois qu'il faut distinguer la spiritualité de la religion. La religion, c'est la dimension collective, horizontale, sociale de la spiritualité qui est une aspiration individuelle. L'homme, depuis toujours, a une dimension spirituelle, puisqu'il a un esprit qui s'interroge sur le monde, qui s'interroge sur l'origine du monde, qui s'interroge sur la mort, sur l'au-delà, est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose après la mort? Et ça, c'est cette dimension de recherche de sens, c'est une dimension spirituelle universelle. Et les religions, ça a été des formes culturelles différentes, beaucoup liées à une expression de pouvoir, de domination, qui permettent de prendre en charge cette question du sens, cette question de la spiritualité. Et aujourd'hui, ce à quoi on assiste de plus en plus, c'est que la spiritualité et la religion se dissocient. Et donc vous avez des gens qui se disent pas religieux, qui cherchent une éthique de vie qui a du sens, qui s'interroge sur l'amour, sur la souffrance, sur la mort. Et donc, il y a une spiritualité. Et ils peuvent aller chercher, d'ailleurs dans les religions, des réponses à ces questions spirituelles. Mais ils vont le faire de manière très libre et ils ne vont plus être appartenant à une religion comme on l'a été traditionnellement depuis toujours. C'est une séparation auquel on assiste qui est quelque chose de nouveau et c'est pour ça que moi je crois qu'il va se développer et on l'assiste déjà à ça fortement en Europe et notamment en France au développement d'une spiritualité sans Dieu et sans Église.
Just as science has lost its roots in the search for truth and become a corporate science, religion has increasingly lost its roots in spirituality and become either a marketing venture or a fundamentalist response to the fundamentalism of the marketplace. We do need a deeper spirituality because human beings are spiritual. Human beings are connected to the universe, to the earth, to each other, and those connections are what make spirituality. Remembering those connections, being aware of those connections, has to be the new spirituality. I have called it earth democracy, both as a new way of thinking about our role on the earth, but a new way of relating to the planet as children of Gaia, connected spiritually, biologically, materially, through the water flow, the carbon flow, that everything we are is connected to the larger world. And that new spirituality of the earth is where the radical change humanity must make will come from. That change will not come from gambling on carbon pricing on stock markets. That change will not come from trying to do business as usual, have as many cars as we want to have, and cut down the Amazon and the rainforest of Indonesia for biofuel to run automobiles. That change will come from becoming more powerful and more satisfied, living with less. That's a spiritual change. That's a cultural change.